It was Halloween night, 1974. In the Texas suburb of Pasadena, children ran door to door with candy bags, the smell of caramel and candle wax thick in the air. But inside one house, a father was planning to kill his own son. Ronald Clark O'Brien was the kind of man people trusted. A church deacon, father of two, and optician by trade. But behind that mask of respectability, he was drowning in over $100,000 of debt, money he couldn't repay. His house was on the verge of foreclosure, his job unstable, yet he smiled through it all, telling everyone that God will provide. But O'Brien had already decided who would. That October, he secretly purchased cyanide, the same poison once used in warfare. Then he took out multiple life insurance policies on his children, Timothy, who was 8 years old, and Elizabeth, 5 years old. On Halloween night, Ronald joined a group of neighborhood kids, including his own, to go trick-or-treating. The home he visited didn't answer the door, but moments later, Ronald returned holding several large Pixie Stix candies. He lied that the homeowner had answered late and handed them out to him. He gave one to each child, including his son. Hours later, Timothy tried the candy, but he complained the candy tasted bitter. His father, knowing it tasted bitter because of the poison, instead helped him wash it down with Kool-Aid. Minutes later, Timothy began to convulse violently. His small body went limp before the ambulance even arrived. Police at first suspected tainted candy from a stranger, until the autopsy revealed the Pixie Stix contained enough cyanide to kill multiple adults. The candy wrapper had been carefully resealed with staples. This prompted the police to search Ronald's home. During the search, they found life insurance documents, cyanide residue, and handwritten notes about the poison's effects. The motive was undeniable at this point, as all evidence pointed to money. Ronald was convicted of capital murder and executed in 1984. The press called him the Candy Man. Ronald's crime permanently changed Halloween culture. Police departments began inspecting candy nationwide. The government alerted parents and guardians to always inspect every candy received on Halloween. Urban legends about poisoned Halloween treats spread for decades, all rooted in one father's greed. But while O'Brien used poison, the next killer used something even more disturbing: his own family. It was Halloween morning in Martin, Ohio, 2010. While everyone in the neighborhood had prepared their costumes and candies for trick-or-treating, a neighbor noticed the Liske home strangely quiet. The police were alerted and they found 3 dead bodies inside: a father, a stepmother, and their son. It all began from William B.J. Liske, who had battled schizophrenia since his teens. His father, William Sr., remarried a kind woman named Susan, who tried to help William recover, but his violent outbursts had led to multiple arrests and psychiatric holds. He was known for paranoia, hearing voices, believing people were always out to get him. The family wanted to celebrate that Halloween weekend together, and also peacefully, so they invited him to stay the night, hoping it would help mend their broken bond. But instead of peace, William came with rage. He had stopped taking his medication and began spiraling into delusions. Around midnight, something inside him snapped. He walked through the quiet house with a shotgun. Before dawn, he shot his father and stepmother as they slept. His stepbrother Derek tried to fight back, but was smashed to death with the butt of the gun. When police arrived, they described the scene as pure horror. Blood splattered across family photos, Halloween decorations still up on the walls. After searching for hours, the police found William hiding in a friend's cabin, and he was entirely covered in dried blood. He confessed calmly, saying he'd been told to do it. He received 3 life sentences without parole. 2 years later, he took his own life in prison. The Liske murders are still remembered in Ohio every Halloween. The town holds small memorials to remind people that mental illness left untreated can destroy entire families. But not every Halloween killer acted out of madness. Some were driven by jealousy and revenge. It was Halloween night in Los Angeles, 1957. A doorbell rang at 11 p.m. Peter Fabiano opened it to find someone in a mask holding a trick-or-treat bag. Before he could speak, the figure shot him in the chest. Peter and his wife Betty were well-liked, running a beauty salon together. But behind the happy marriage was tension. Months earlier, before getting shot, Peter and his wife had briefly separated, and for a while, Betty was seeing another woman, a photographer named Joan Rabel. The affair only lasted a few months before Betty broke up with Rabel. Rabel became very obsessed and resentful. Unable to move on, Rabel convinced her close friend Goldine Pizer that Peter was abusive, that he was ruining Betty's life, as well as putting her in danger by dealing narcotics out of their shared home. Together, they began plotting revenge, choosing Halloween night so they could wear masks without any suspicion. Dressed in disguise, Pizer approached Peter's door, holding a paper trick-or-treat bag, concealing a pistol. When Peter answered, she said nothing. A single gunshot echoed through the neighborhood. Peter fell instantly and died before help arrived. Police initially suspected robbery, until Betty broke down and confessed everything about her past with Rabel. Rabel and Pizer were later sentenced to life and paroled after 10 years. What shocked police was Pizer's confession. She said, "I guess I was easily persuaded. It felt like she had a spell over me." It seems at the very least that Goldine was infatuated with Rabel. The trick-or-treat murder became one of Hollywood's most sensational scandals, a real-life noir about passion, jealousy, and death under a Halloween moon. But not all victims were caught up by jealous lovers. Some were just being stalked. Before we continue with the video, remember to subscribe, like and comment which Halloween murder has shocked you so far. Macon, Georgia, June 2011. Law student Stephen McDaniel stood before reporters, calmly talking about his missing neighbor, but they had no idea the sinister act McDaniel had just committed. McDaniel was classmates at Massacre Law School with Lauren Giddings. Lauren Giddings was known as vibrant, kind-hearted, the eldest of 3 sisters, and the first in her family to attend college. She was loved by everyone, smart, and preparing for the bar exam. McDaniel was the assistant president to Lauren and was quite a loner, harboring a secret obsession for her. He made his intentions known to Lauren, but she rejected his advances, and this made him even more obsessed. Late one night at 4:39 a.m., McDaniel used a master key to gain access to Lauren's apartment. Wearing a mask and a glove, he strangled her as she slept. The next day, he dismembered her body with a hacksaw and disposed of her remains in a trash bin. When police began investigating, he volunteered to speak to the media, hoping to seem innocent. But when a reporter told him that Lauren's torso had been found, his demeanor changed instantly. His face twisted, his breath caught, and the mask slipped. That clip would later go viral as one of the eeriest interviews ever captured.
Find that anyone broke in. The door was locked when everyone got here. We just don't know where she is.
What about in the parking lot area? I know they've been doing a lot of. I think that's where they had recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
Had you seen anything there? Had you seen anything there? I mean, we don't know if this is the same person. You know what I mean? Like, they took out a body there earlier. We don't know if it's the same person or not. So that's how we're trying to ask people if they know who lived there. Are you okay, sir?
I think I need to sit down.
Okay.
In his apartment, police later found journals describing fantasies about breaking into her home. He was charged with murder and sentenced to life without parole. In his confession, he admitted that he couldn't control himself. The crime devastated Mercer's campus. Lauren's friends turned her memory into a scholarship fund, ensuring her name lived on longer than her killers. Our next story is about a teenage girl whose last costume became her shroud. Armstrong, British Columbia, Halloween night, 2011. 18-year-old Taylor Van Diest texted her friend that she felt someone was following her. Minutes later, her phone went silent. Taylor was outgoing, funny. Her family described her as the light of the house, and she loved Halloween. That year, she dressed as a zombie and was excited to meet up with her pals to go trick-or-treating one last time before they were too old. She was walking to meet friends for a costume party, like she did every year. But what she didn't know was that she'd been targeted by Matthew Forster, a 26-year-old man with a record of violent assaults. He followed her from the shadows, waiting until she reached a dark stretch of train tracks. Forster attacked her brutally. He strangled Van Diest with his hands and a shoelace, and crushed her skull with repeated blows from a heavy flashlight as she lay on the ground, unconscious and bleeding out. Her parents found her hours later after she failed to show up to the party. She died in the hospital the very next day. It would take some good old-fashioned police work, coupled with forensic DNA evidence, to bring Forster to justice. In court, he claimed it was a drunken mistake, but the jury saw through him and he was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 17 years. Taylor's death shocked Canada. Her friends created the campaign Light the Tracks, encouraging people to leave candles where she was found every Halloween. Today, that stretch of tracks glows with hundreds of small lights, her memory refusing to fade. Halloween is supposed to be a night of laughter, not loss. But these stories remind us that evil doesn't need a costume. It walks among us, in fathers, friends, and faces we trust. So this year, as you step out into the dark, remember, not all monsters hide behind masks. Remember to subscribe, like, and comment which Halloween murder has shocked you so far.